second featured language in the series, and today we are presenting Haitian Storyteller, or Kontè. Brought a number of books and pieces of art for you to take a look at too. And this is going to be an interactive show, so we're really hoping that audience members are going to want to participate a little bit. Looking right at you. Don't worry, I'll be right there too, ready to get up and do whatever is needed. I just want to say that this multicultural story series is supported by a grant from Mass Cultural Council and from the Town of Barnstable Mini Tourism Grant. And it is a series of 4 community spoken languages. We have a story walk in the along the harbor overview, the harbor overlook by the artist shanties, and then we have 4 storytellers that have been coming. And this is, as I said, the second in the series. The featured languages are Brazilian Portuguese, Haitian Creole, Spanish, and French. And so the series runs until June 30th. And there's more information about it on our website. So I'm going to hand it over to you.
My pleasure. And I should get as close as possible to you, because if you are doing Haitian storytelling, normally we would be under some large language reading, sitting with maybe some campfire, and having some fried goats or fried pork being cooked on the fire, and we will be ready to share some of those stories. Now, to share any story, of course, I would ask everyone to be ready to participate and to shout with me. When I say something like creak, I need my audience to answer crack. When I say creak,
Crack,
creak, creak,
crack, crack,
creak, creak, creak,
crack, crack, crack,
creak,
crack, crack,
creak, creak.
crack.
Also, to do the storytelling, we have to think about a couple of things. We have those folk tales that we need to share, but we also have those riddles that are how we help introduce, how we ease our audience into the storytelling session. For these riddles to work, we need to move away from Hyannis and remember that we are in Haiti, a small island not too far from the coast of Florida. And an island is, of course, what it is. It's surrounded by the ocean. So we need to remember those pieces. We also need to remember that Haiti is a third world country where development and access to certain resources has limitation. So that helps actually think about how some of those answers may come up. So, creak,
Crack,
creak, creak.
crack, crack.
I am taller when I sit than when I stand. Who am I? I am taller when I sit than when I stand. Who am I? And because it's bilingual, what we pon pour moi, moi pi wo lem chita asi lem campi. I am taller when I sit than when I stand.
I am taller when I sit.
Than when I stand. Son compte haïtien. Now, in this case, if you don't know, in French you say, je donne ma langue au chat, you have to give your tongue to the cat. Or in Creole, non pas même contre qui sorti en Creole, moi bois pois.
Oh, my boy, ready?
Well, she has to swallow. Good. So, the answer, since we don't know the answer, okay, should we give it? I am taller when I sit than when I stand. Fetson, tell me, who can be taller when sitting instead of being up? Then when I stand. You know? No. That's the dog.
Oh.
These are one of those Haitian riddles. Creak,
Crack,
creak, creak.
crack, crack,
Creak, creak, creak.
crack, crack, crack.
4 big, 4 humongous men standing under a small umbrella. None of them get wet. 4 big men standing on the little umbrella. None of them get wet. What happened?
It's not raining.
It's not raining.
Wow, I don't usually get
trick readers from the Haitian. So quick,
Crack.
quick.
Crack, crack.
Every day I have 4 feet. Every day I get dressed, all fancy, but I never leave the house. Who am I? Moi j'ai 4 pieds. Chaque jour m'habille bien bordé, même pas j'aime sortir la terre. Qui pour moi? Ho 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 ho! Someone found me. Yes, sir. I have 4 feet. I get dressed all fancy every day, but I never leave the house. Say it in English then. Huh? And in English? Oh, the bed.
Oh,
I was thinking table. Yeah.
I don't usually say dress the table, but
Now, the way when I do this in some schools, it's also become a learning or teaching moments. We have to actually establish for some generations that back in the days, some of us actually did take the time to get the bed together before we quick. Quick.
Crack, crack, crack.
I have 4 feet. Every day they serve me food, drink, but I never eat, never drink. Who am I? Moi j'ai 4 pieds. Chaque jour, you charge avec manger, avec jus.
Tab.
Okay. You came from somewhere where you may have heard about this one. I have 4 feet. Every day, serve me food, drink, but I never eat, never drink.
Yeah.
We'll come back to some of these other riddles. Now let's hear about the storytelling part. Now, 2 things that we need to remember. When we say storytelling, we can be talking about those stories that are the product of our imaginations based on the reality of our life, because based on our traveling around, meeting with people. So they have actually this piece of social commentary. So the other ones that I'm talking about now are those folk tales that are rooted in Haitian tradition, that Haitians have been telling for generations since actually the ancestors left Africa and brought some of the stories every time. When they had this break, their only way to socialize and to be connected with their families was to actually tell and retell those stories that those griots, those ancestors, would have reported to them. Which is why you find in those Haitian folktales, again, memories, reminiscences of Africa, the lions, the tigers, animals that you don't find in Haiti. And also, interestingly, this reality finds itself into traditional Haitian painting. The typical Haitian painting actually is populated with those animals that Haitians have never seen. But either through memories, through descriptions, or imagery, they keep reproducing those lands. So, quick!
Crack,
Quick!
crack, crack.
Any of you have dogs or cats at home? How would you characterize the relationship, connection between cats and dogs?
Fraught.
Do you know why? Any of you know why? That's one of the great mysteries here. I know that science, I know that technology has been provided all kinds of answers, but we in Haiti, we claim to know through this story how and why cats and dogs have stopped being friends, when in fact in the past they've been good friends. We claim to know through this story why you will barely see or not see at all the presence of dogs in the Bible. We also claim to know why dead people who were supposed to be back on earth have never been back up to this day. So quick!
Crack.
Once upon a time, cat and dog were sitting under a mango tree discussing the affairs of the village. When dog started to complain about his misery, about it. Let me think. I got an idea. If there were more people, dead people back on earth, there would be more people eating, and I will find more bones and more meat. That's a great idea. Cat said, but this is crazy. Already we have too many people here on earth. Already we don't have enough food on earth. And if those dead people come back, where, how are we going to put them up? Dog said, don't you see whenever one of them die, they are all sad, they cry, they roll on the floor, they are so sorry. Come on, if dead people come back, they will make room for them. They will actually let them sleep in their beds. They will find a place to get them on earth. I know what I'm going to do. Now, what are we going to do, Brother Dog? Tomorrow, I'm going up in the sky in heaven. I am going to ask Papa God to bring dead people back on earth so I can find more bones and more. To the day after, creak.
Crack.
Who do you think woke up first?
Dog. Oh, come back first? Oh.
The cat.
Okay.
The cat woke up very early in the morning, went to the grocery store, and bought 8 big pieces of bones, and made his way up to the sky in heaven to see Papa God. But on his way, he dropped those bones in places where he knew that Brother Dog would find it. And finally, here is Brother Cat up in heaven knocking at the door. Well, guess what? Papa God was snoring big time. Brother Cat again. Finally, Papa God woke up. Who's working at my door? Came and opened the door. Brother Cat bowed. Papa God, I came here to tell you about some foolish idea that's being discussed down on earth. People and Brother Dog are talking about coming here to ask you to bring dead people back on earth. Papa God, remember, you love your sleep. And those people who've been down below for so long, they haven't talked, they haven't danced, they haven't done anything. If you bring them back, they're going to talk. They're going to start building houses with engineer bias. They are going to dance and make so much noise that you'll never be able to enjoy your sleep, Papa God. Papa God thought about it and said, Brother Cat, I knew that you were one of the good ones that I put down below. Come and have some coffee with me, and then go back on earth. Brother Cat had some coffee, and Papa God finally went to bed and started again to snore. In the meantime, who woke up down below?
Dog.
The dog was so happy. Can you try that? The dog made his way now. But on his way, what did he find? Bones. So the dog stopped. Then the first bone. The second bone. Finally ate all those 8 bones and made it to the sky. Now at this point, his belly is that big. So dog went up there and knocked at Papa God's door in heaven. But once again, Papa God was snoring big time. Brother Dog went again. Papa God says, but who is knocking at my door? Who is disrupting my sleep? And opened the door. Now Dog was, Papa God, I came here to tell you about my misery down on earth. When you made me, you did not teach me a trade. You did not teach me how to work. So for the longest time, it has been by the grace of those humans that once in a while I may find a piece of bone on me. But for the past 2 days, Papa God, I've been going hungry. Those humans are no longer feeding me. God, Papa God looked at the dog and said, look at you, fat dog. Your belly is so full that you don't even have the decency to bow before Papa God. And you are claiming being hungry. That's the kind of audacity that I will not tolerate here in heaven. Leave this place and never come back here again in heaven. And this is how, my friends, that dog was expelled from heaven. We understand also that this is how, on his way back down on earth, he remembered that only one friend knew about his plan, and this was the cat. So he went down the village chasing the cat. And the cat was meow, meow, meow. Finally, the cat jumped up a tree and then continued meow, meow. As I was going through the village, I saw that this fighting, and I said, but, come on, brother dog. I thought that you and cat were good friends. Dog looked at me, jumped after me, and gave me such a bite in the behind that I jumped from the village and landed right here in Hyannis to tell you the story of brother cat and brother dog and the return of the dead. I will also tell you that this is since this day that cat and dogs have never been friends, and dead people can never return back from death. So again, I would tell you and remind you, this story ends exactly like that. I was going by the village, I saw the infighting, tried to question the why he was being so mean, and the dog gave me this bite in the behind that led me to jump and land. Now, when it comes to Haitian folk tales, most of the time, most Haitian folk tales ends or has to end with a similar ending. You go around and ask some improper questions to one of the characters who would have been the bad one or the victim of the story. And this character will either give you this bite or this kick in the behind that will get you to travel from Africa, Nigeria, Dahomey, or from Haiti, Leogan, and to land in the place where the story is being told. Crick!
Crack.
Crick, crick!
Crack, crack.
Made of water, born in water. If I fall in water, I disappear. I die. M'fait nan l'eau, m'levé nan l'eau, you fais avec l'eau, mais si m'tombe dans l'eau, m'a disparaît, m'a mouri. Qui ça m'y est? M'fait nan l'eau, m'fait avec l'eau, si moi tombe dans l'eau, m'a disparaît, m'a mouri. You are going to go and disparaît. Fall in water, made of water. If I fall in water, I disappear. I die.
La glace.
Huh? No.
Ice.
Hooah! I heard something here. What did I say?
Ice.
I heard ice. It's glass. Now, that's one of those moments, again, that become a learning or a teaching moment in the classroom when I do Haitian folk tales and riddles in the schools. This looks like a very rational, logical answer. However, I remind the students about two things. That A, Haiti is again at this stage an underdeveloped country, which means that would have been part of the introduction. Resources, some resources are not common. So not every Haitian household has access to a fridge or has access to ice. Some of them will travel to places to buy ice from someone who has a fridge. So because the riddles are a reflection of the general culture, the ice, which looks an okay answer in this environment here in the US or in Hyannis, wouldn't be the proper or the adequate answer in the context of Haiti. So that's the learning moment to get the kids to understand about development and environment. So we need a second guess from someone. Made of water, ball of water. If I fall in water, I disappear. I vanish. I can actually see brain cells working hard. I'm trying to see actually the connection between Haiti and the surrounding ocean. And usually The kids, by the way, have been the best ones at finding some of those answers because their imagination goes wild. So I have to tell them what's most common the most common answer is for the Haitian person to think about salt.
Oh.
Salt, made of water, in water, divide 4.
Wow.
Now, speaking of water, there is also this, as you know, this historical story between Haitians and water. Their ancestors made the Atlantic, journey to land in Haiti, and then they are living into this island. This island has been consistently battered by flooding, by hurricane, consistently. I'm not even talking about the earthquake of 2010 that killed more than 250,000 people. So the water is always part of either some folktales or some riddles. So quick! It's going to be wild. Quick!
Crack, crack, crack.
Hanging water. Hanging water.
Rain?
What did I say? Clouds. No, clouds.
Rain?
That feels a kind of possibility. Blue country.
Blue Kontè? Kokoe?
I think I heard the answer.
She wins.
Vous gardez en anglais?
Non.
Le premier mot dit you.
Kokoe?
Coconut, yes.
Coconut. Oh.
So again, we have to actually go out of it, yes. So hanging water, the coconut, that literally. So since we are in that vein, let's continue some way. Quick!
Crack.
Quick!
Crack, crack.
Quick!
Crack, crack, crack.
Le coucher, napping or sleeping water. Now that you've been in this mode, you might be very creative about finding it. Napping or sleeping water. The trick would be to think about something that actually has pure water into it. Bamboo.
Waterbed.
Not quite.
Watermelon.
Qu'est-ce que ça dit?
L'eau couchée.
Non.
L'eau couchée.
Deux couchés?
Finally, I got your hair. I think Engineer Bias had the answer.
Watermelon.
Watermelon.
Melon?
Melon.
No, I see.
So that would be true for people again who are used to seeing those melons laying on the ground, and that's part of the harvest, and that's how that goes security. Here's another wild one. Quick!
Crack.
Quick!
Crack, crack.
Quick!
Crack, crack, crack.
Standing water. Standing water. Look up it.
Look. What about them?
Look up it.
How did that one?
Okay.
Sugarcane.
Yeah.
Sugarcane.
I think someone just gave the answer. Go ahead.
Sugarcane.
I was thinking cactus.
Con. Oh, okay, con.
Now, if the answer usually sounds strange to the students attending a session, we show them pictures of the sugarcane and how kids from Haiti or from the Dominican Republic literally suck on the sugarcane to extract the juice, the juicy liquid of it. So, connection is not that visible. However, we use it as a way to introduce participants into another way of doing things by kids or residents living in different places. Folktale time. Quick!
Crack.
Quick!
Crack, crack.
All right. Now I need you to start for me again. Shout it loud. The quick one. Quick. No. I want you
You start.
I want
You
you
start.
to say quick now, and we will answer to you. Go ahead. Oh,
Crack.
come on, loud. I want to hear your voice all the way. Go ahead.
Crack.
Okay. Give it out the quick. Go ahead. No, quick. Crack,
Crick,
crack.
crack.
Let's hear about horse and frog
Horse
going to marry a princess. Once upon a time, in the village of Léogane in Haiti, the king had 3 daughters. Now, 2 of the daughters married, and the king and the queen have been waiting for the child, the princess, to find a husband. Time went by, nothing happened, until one day, 2 suitors, frog and the horse, came asking the king to marry the princess. Now the king, being the king, wanted to show that he was fair. He knew perfectly who he was going to choose for the princess. But he wanted to play fair. So he said, both of you came asking for my princess. I am a fair king. I want you to go through a contest. I want you to go through a race from the village of Brash, 3 miles away, to the castle here. The one who wins the race will marry the princess. So, on a very good, bright Sunday, there was no rain like here in Hyannis. The princess, her friends, the king and the queen, were sitting by the walls of the castle in Léogane, while 3 miles away, in the village of Brash, frog and horse, with the crowd around, were getting ready for the race. Whoever wins the race will marry the princess. So people were eating their bangles, sucking on their sugar cane, getting on their grilled goat meat, all ready for the party. When suddenly the referee says, ready for the race. Frog said, yes, I am. Horse said, yes, I'm ready. But Horse said, come on, Frog, go ahead, go first. For we know all who's going to win this race. I'm the horse. The frog was, come on, go first, go first. I have no fear. I know who I'm worth. Finally, as they were debating, the referee came again, gave each of them a kick in the behind to start the race. But he reminded them, the king wanted to entertain the crowd. So at each crossroad, you are to stop and sing some song for the crowd. So the race started. The horse was quietly, as he knew he was going to win the race. And the frog started to lead slowly. At the very first crossroad, the horse stayed, looked around at the crowd and started, Ikore samba, Ikore samba. Together? Ikore samba, Ikore samba, Ikore samba, Ikore samba. As the crowd was clapping for the beautiful voice of the horse, and the horse was so proud, suddenly it heard something. Frog. Tell me how, tell me how. Such a frog like me win this race today. The horse was shocked. How come frog could have been so close, singing? So he went on again, this time slightly faster, trotting, galloping, get to the second crossroad, stop. Ikore samba,
Ikore samba.
Again, Ikore
Samba. Ikore samba.
Ikore samba. Shock of his life. Once again, heard frog. Tell me, such a frog like me gonna win, princess. This time, horse was in panic. Now dashed toward the castle, this time faster. Got to the third post, started this time. The singing was gonna go here. Ikore samba, ikore samba, ikore samba, ikore samba, ikore samba, ikore samba. Looked around and heard again the despicable voice of the frog. Rock, rock, rock. Tell me how, tell me how, tell me, it's not a frog like me. We're in this. This time, the horse was moving around, trying to trample, to crush the frog, but no frog visible. And dash now toward the village of Leogan to get closer to the castle. Now what the horse didn't know is that frog had placed his cousins in each house to sing, while all the while he was sitting under a chair where the princess was sitting. So as the horse was getting closer and closer to the castle, the frog leaped from beneath the chair and jumped on the skirt of the princess. As the princess was trying to push away, but the crowd started to sing, fair is fair, fair is fair, fair is fair. And that's how, my friends, that the princess had to marry the frog to the chagrin of the king. As I was going through the field, getting closer to the castle, I saw the horse, all sad and dejected, head bent in the field. I said, come on, beautiful horse. How come you did not win such an easy race? The horse gave me a look, gave me such a kick in the and I jumped all the way from the Uganda to land here and tell you the story. How the horse get married the princess.
You must be full of bruises.
On the side.
Crack,
Quick.
crack, crack,
Quick.
crack, crack, crack.
Every day, I got into 2 roads to get to my work. Every day, I got into 2 roads to visit the king. Who am I? Every day, I get into 2 roads
Two
to
rows.
visit my work. I take 2 roads to go to work. You have the answer?
Yes.
What's the answer?
I don't know.
Ah, oui, chaque jour, m'entre dans 2 chemins pour mon travail. I take 2 roads. I get into 2 roads. Pour mon travail. Let me see. I have to be very creative here.
Oh, you have to go back and
Comment tu me vois quoi en anglais?
I bill out.
comment dit-
Comment tu ça ouais quoi?
I bill out.
I give my tongue to the cat.
No, give my tongue to the cat. That's a French
Oh.
way to say Malalusha.
I give up.
Okay, I give up. All right. No, I wanted to have a literal translation. You are literally going to drink the
Oh.
beans,
The pea soup.
the pea soup. We have no explanation, but real translation. When you have to give up,
The pea soup.
you are going to just to drink the pea soup. All right, I'm getting very close now. Every day I get into 2 roads.
Oh, pockets.
Not the pockets, you are
Your hands.
The
Oh.
pants.
Yeah.
Again, we call those riddles and those stories as part of the creative mind of Haitian culture, getting into 2 roads to get to the king's castle or to get to work. It's the answer is usually the fence.
Crack,
Quick.
crack, crack, crack.
I am the smallest of the house, but when people can't find me, they can sleep in peace. I'm the smallest in the house.
Mosquito.
Not quite. Because usually you wouldn't be looking or sitting for the mosquito.
I know, but if he's like, you can't find it.
Now, no.
Qui
It's,
sort ya?
hein?
Qui sort ya ke?
C'est votre petit silence Kyle. Si vous parlez de moi, personne ne va dormir en fait.
Balé?
Lailler, non. Mais,
Balé.
balai, non, mais petit.
Le qui?
Yeah, le clay.
Le qui?
Ouah! Yes! That's good.
Ok.
Pretty Kyle. Quick!
Crack.
Quick, quick, quick.
Crack, crack, crack.
Give me some of it again. Quick. Are you ready?
Yeah.
We're going to do it fast. Quick.
Crack, crack.
Quack, quack, quack.
Oh, no, no. I only you have to 1, 1, 2, 2, 23, right? Quick.
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 Crack.
Crack.
Quick, quick.
Quack, quack.
Ah, okay, good. You're getting there. Now, once upon a time, tell everyone your name again. Loud. No, your name. Tell. No, your name. Tell us your name. What's your name?
Fetson.
Fatson. Once upon a time, Fatson, we are just making this up, okay?
Yeah.
We know that your mom is here. But once upon a time, Fatson was living somewhere with a relative who was doing things, asking him to work hard all the time, to clean and to do chores. Because Fatson, I don't like doing those chores, come on. And she said, if you don't do those chores, I'm going to send you away. He said, okay, I can send you away. Where do you want to send me away? I'm going to send you to the great devil's house. Now, the great devils, as we know, in Haitian folktales, is mean. He can actually do bad things to kids and eat those kids. Of course, nobody will. So, she gave the little sack to Fredson and told Fredson, I want you to go to the great devil's house far in the forest and bring me 4 hairs from the beard of the great devil. Now, Fredson had no idea where to find the great devil. However, he was very brave, right? He had no fear. So he took his sack and then went into the forest, heading to the great devil's house. Now, he was very happy and was singing, il était une merveille, et on peut pas rapport. Il était une merveille, qui gardait ses moutons, qui gardait ses moutons. Jacques. Jacques. So as Fredson was singing his song in the forest, here, right there, the king of England. Hey, little boy, where are you going along in the forest and singing as if you're a happy little man? Oh, my king, now, I'm heading to the great devil's house. I have to bring 4 hairs for the beard of the great devil, my auntie over there back home. You are going to see the great devil. But the great devil is going to eat you alive, my boy. I don't know. I'm going to listen. If you go to the great devils, and if you come back to life, asking why my daughter, the princess, has been limping, and I don't know how to fix this. She's sad. She's suffering. Yes, my king. Yes, my king. I will ask the great devil what happened to your daughter. So he continued on his way in the forest, and he's still singing. Tis oiseau que te va parler, as he was singing his song now, Fredson meets the King of Spain. The King of Spain is surprised. Boy, where are you going? Oh, I'm going to see the great devil. I have to bring 4 beers from the 4 hair from the great devil for my auntie. But he's going to eat you alive. He is mean. But listen, if you see him, can you tell him why My well has been dry, and there is no water coming. My population, my son, my daughter are all suffering because the well has no water. Third son says, yes, my king, I will ask the great devil. As he was getting closer, he met with the god. Now the god said, boy, where are we going alone in the forest? Third son says something like, oh, I have to see the great devil and I have to bring back 4 hairs from his beard. Boy, this is not possible. The great devil is me. He's going to take your life. But listen, if you see him, if you see the great devil, can you ask him that I've been standing here as a god for 3 years. Nobody came back here to replace and to relieve me. Can you tell him what I should do? Oh yes, my God, I will ask the great devil. So finally, as Fatson was getting close, he heard like big, that was the wind blowing the trees. He was closer to the house. So he finally found the door and then knocked. Who answered? That was the wife of the great devil. She opened the door and Fatson, being a good boy, bowed and said, good morning. Boy, what are you doing here? Do you know where you are? Yes, I came here to get 4 hairs from the beard of the great devil. Poor Fatson had no idea that he couldn't do that. So the woman, the wife, was so impressed because he was polite. He said, look, I'll do something for you. My husband is very mean, the great devil. But you are going to hide under the bed. Stay there, and tomorrow morning I will give you 4 hairs from his beard. A few moments later, Fatson was all shaking in fear because he heard the great devil coming. And each step was boom, boom, boom. The great devil opened the door and said, I smell fresh meat. Jackson was shaking, trembling in the bed. The wife said, come on, great devil, there is no meat here. It's only because of the fried goat, the fried plantain, the fried pork. Look at the table. And she showed the great devil all those meat, all the food that she had prepared. Wow, good, good, good. He sat and he ate. What did he eat, Fatson? The goat, the fried goat, the fried pork, the fried chicken, and the plantains, and the mangoes. So finally, great devil was so full that he fell asleep. Now, as the great devil was sleeping, the wife came, took 1 hair, twisted it, pulled it out. The great devil woke up. Who's pulling my hair? The wife said, oh, great devil, I had this bad dream. I saw the king of Spain. His daughter was suffering and was limping because she was sore. She didn't know what to do. The devil said, all kings are full. Very simple. All he had to do is take the sulfur rock near the castle, crush it, take the powder, put it on the foot of the princess, and she'll be fine. Let me sleep, wife. Went back to sleep. As he was snoring again, remember, the great devil snores as big as Papa. The wife again came, took 1 hair, twisted, and pulled it out. The great devil again was shocked. Who is pulling my hair? Why are you doing that, wife? Oh, my king, oh, great devil, I had this bad dream. I saw the king of England, who was all over the place, who was yelling and crying, because there is no more water in the well, he doesn't know what to do. The great devil said again, I'm telling you, second fool, very simple. All he has to do is get underneath and then pull this guava tree roots, and then water will come out gushing of the well. Let me sleep, wife. Oh my God, what a night I'm having. I'm very sorry, great devil. Let her sleep. Once again, she went, pulled 1 other piece of hair, twisted, pulled it out. Wife, this time Dad, this is going to be very bad for you. Why? Oh, why are you pulling my hair again? Oh, I don't know what's happening, Great Devil. I had this bad dream again. I saw this God standing for 3 years. He doesn't know what to do because nobody's coming to replace him. Great Devil said, like those kings, gods are fools. All he has to do, the first person he comes by, ask the person to hold on to his weapon and say that he's going to buy some cigarettes and then just go and never come back. Oh, what an idea. I'm very sorry. I'm sorry, Great Devil. Let's go to sleep. He went to sleep and went again. Great Devil was snoring. Early in the morning, the wife shook Fetson underneath of the bed. Fetson came out shaking. And she gave him those 4 hairs from the beard of the Great Devil. So slowly, on her feet, Fetson left on his way back. On his way, who did he meet first? The
Guard.
The guard was all shocked and surprised. Fetson, how come you're alive? Yes, I'm alive. What did the Great Devil tell you? Very simple. The first person who comes around, what you do, give him your weapon, tell him that you are going to buy some cigarettes, and then just take off. Now remember, he had promised to Fetson that he will give him a lot of gold and money. He said, Fetson, that's a good idea. Hey, Fetson, can you hold my weapon for me? Fetson said, no, not me. Come on, give me my money. Fetson is smart. So on his way back, who else did he meet? The King of Spain. The king was all surprised and shocked. You are alive? The Great Devil didn't eat you? No, he did not. So what did he say about my well? Very simple. Get under the well, and then pull this huge guava roots, and then water will come out gushing. And that's how the king was able to solve the problem and gave to Fetson a donkey loaded with gold. Now Fetson is on his way when finally he met the King of England, who was all shocked and surprised like the other ones. How come the Great Devil didn't eat you? Nobody knew that the wife was protecting Fetson because he was polite. He bowed to others. He says, very simple. All you have to do is take this sorrowful rock near the castle, crush it, make a powder, and then sprinkle your princess's food and she'll be fine. Guess what? The king was so happy. He promised to Fetson, if you come back, I'll let you marry the princess, my daughter. Now at this point, Fetson was so happy, went back finally in the house, checking the 4 hairs from the Great Devil's beard, and say, I'm back, and these are the hair. But I'm going to tell you, I don't know what to say. She looked at the donkey loaded with gold. Come on, come here, get some soup, get some food. No, for I have business to do with a king somewhere. By then, that's how Fetson was speaking with his big voice. He felt that he was a man. Now he has gold. The princess was waiting for him. So that's how Fetson went back, met with the king. The king kept his promise, and Fetson married the princess, and they lived ever after. So as I was going by the forest, I saw this lady and said, lady, how come you are doing all these chores alone? Where is Fetson? She gave me a look, run after me, gave me something to keep. Jumped and landed right here to tell you about how Fetson once married a princess. Thank you very much again. I had selected at least 3 stories for you, shared some of those riddles. My recommendation is to remember at least 3 or 4 of those riddles, share them with your kids, nephews, nieces, and then get them to do some further digging so they understand the cultural element, but also understand the larger environmental, economic, and historical context when it comes to understand Haiti. Interestingly, when I was invited, apparently, I didn't know that the month of May is the Haitian Heritage Month in the US.
Nice.
You want to give a piece of history about this one? I was fortunate to be part of a group in 1998, Winter August. We started to do these dates in Haitian history that are all connected to the month of May. And that started the idea of a celebration of Haitian culture that actually grew to become now a national event celebrated in Philadelphia, New Jersey, Florida, Illinois, Michigan, Massachusetts, Rhode Island. Every year since 1998, 1999, you'll find those large floats from 3,000 to 15,000 people, according to the Boston Globe. You will find the mayor of Boston, the governor, going, most of the politicians, because of this crowd, making connection with the community. But it's more than a political event. It's also reaffirming, reestablishing those bonds that people don't know about Haiti and the US. If quickly again, if I put those lists here on display and give you time to browse. Right after Haiti's independence, the leader of the revolution, well, the mastermind of the abolition movement would be Toussaint Louverture. That goes back in 1791, 1793, between 1791 and up to 1803. Toussaint Louverture, leader of the abolition movement, with his lieutenants, successfully defeated the armies that were occupying Haiti, the Spanish army, the British army, and then later, after he was arrested, his lieutenant Dessalines will actually expel the French army and will proclaim Haiti's independence in 1804. Since then, the US has systematically, between 1804 and 1862, systematically refused to recognize Haiti's independence because of the fear that the idea of a group of slaves were able to defeat Great Britain, Spain, and France to proclaim the first black republic in the world and the second nation in the Western Hemisphere after the US 1776, Haiti 1804. So Haiti was systematically rejected because of the fear that such example would actually bring slaves and blacks in the US to follow the particular pattern. But what happened in the meantime, Dessalines, the leader, offered to any Jamaican, British, or American ship who would actually leave or bring blacks from the US in Haiti as free men, they would pay them about $40. John Adams, at some point, will send 5 US naval ships, the USS Constitution, the Rhode Island, the Connecticut. Those ships had names of those states at that time, I forgot the other ones, to support the leader of the Haitian abolition movement, Toussaint Louverture, as he was fighting internally to retain control. And those boats were set to block British naval ships from Jamaica to come in Haiti and occupy the south of Haiti. These are connections. One of the leading abolitionists of the US, John Brown, as you may know, rallied both black and white abolitionists in New England to conduct this attack on this barrack in Virginia, Harper Ferry. He was ultimately captured. But throughout his trial for 4 years, there were news between Haiti and the US newspapers reporting on the trial of John Brown. When he was finally executed in Haiti, that's the first country to name its longest stretch of a road, Avenue John Brown, in honor of John Brown as a man who fought for the freedom of black people, for the abolition of slavery. It is also true that when the abolition, ultimately, Abraham Lincoln would be the one to recognize Haiti, in part thanks to the advocacy of Frederick Douglass. Now, when that happened, throughout the Civil War, the way that the abolitionists were able to motivate some of the blacks to rebel was by bringing them pictures of Toussaint Louverture and reporting that there were black leaders who in the past were able to defeat three powerful nations of the world. So that's how, if you heard about, well, yeah, of course, the 54th Regiment was made of blacks. Some of them were enlisted and were convinced to fight because there have been precedents before. The first black officer of the 54th Regiment, Officer Delany, named his first son Toussaint Louverture Delany. They also actually named a special regiment within the 54th Regiment, the Toussaint Louverture Regiment. So all those things to say that the connection has been strong. The final one to point out, please Google it, the Louisiana Purchase in Haiti. After the Napoleon Bonaparte troops were defeated in Haiti in 1803, Napoleon had planned to use Haiti to re-establish slavery, both in Haiti and in the other Caribbean islands. And after re-establishing slavery, send the French troops from there to land in the south coast of the US and then to get to Louisiana, because Louisiana used to be French territory. But after his troops, about 60,000 of them, were defeated in Haiti, he had no choice but to sell Louisiana to Jefferson, who was too eager to actually jump into what is now called the cheapest real estate bargain. They made the calculations. The sales of the Louisiana back in the days is equivalent to maybe 15 houses around here. $15 million. In 1803, the actual size of the US was literally doubled because the French or Napoleon lost his battles in Haiti. So that since then, actually, it is known as the cheapest bargains, thanks to the Haitian Revolution. Other things to know also, finally, is that the city of Chicago was founded by Jean-Baptiste Kontè, who had traveled from Haiti, landed in Mississippi, established his first trading post by the Mississippi near what is known as Chicago now, and now they have the steps. They have a statue named after Jean-Baptiste Kontè, the Haitian. So all of this to say that Haitians take the month of May to celebrate some particular Haitian Flag Day, renew for that force, immunity and strength. The history is that as Haitians were pulling together the last fight, they took the French flag, blue, white, and red. They removed the white part of the French flag, brought together the red and the blue. The red represents the mulattoes, the black represented by the blue. So the union of the blacks and the mulattoes to fight against French, and that's how Haiti's flag was created on May 18, 1803. Wow. So that's how in May we celebrate Flag Day, we celebrate the birth of Toussaint Louverture, and the host of for the Mother's Day is May 20.
Tomorrow, that's this tomorrow.
Tomorrow, Haitian Mother's Day.
Yes.
Tomorrow,
Last Sunday of the month.
We celebrate also Fête de l'Agriculture et du Travail.
May 1st.
May 1st in Haiti. We celebrate which one again? Fête de l'Université. So we have a host of celebration, University, Labor Day, Flag Day, Mother's Day, and Fête Maman. So that's how coincidentally I was invited today, and I was so happy of this.
Yeah, I knew all that.
So thank you again. Any questions or comments? And after I invite you to browse through those things.
Just want to add in comments the Haitians' participation in the War of Independence of the U.S. and the
1779. 1,500 mulattoes and blacks and a few French troops as well. But that was under the command of a French governor by the name of Kontè. I saw it black on the common, celebrating Kontè, the French governor. But 1,500 Haitian and mulatto troops fought in Savannah alongside of the American rebels against the British troops. So currently you can type something like a Haitian plaque or a Haitian monument in Savannah that was actually erected about 6 years ago in memory of those troops who fought in Savannah in support of the American Revolution.
And also Haiti being the only country in the Caribbean, in the southern part, to support the Union during the war, the
Wow.
Civil War. The headquarters of the Union was actually in Cape Haitian.
That's good. So, plenty
Connection is very strong.
Yeah.
Plenty of I was doing a presentation recently, and I was able to trace geographically, by the way, in the south, Georgia, you have the Monument of Savannah, Memorial of the Haitians. You go to Tennessee, there is a Toussaint Louverture cemetery that was created in 1869. Some of those black troops that died were over there. And then you go up north in Virginia, you have the Toussaint Louverture Hospital. This is where they would send the black troops, part of the 54th Regiment and other troops who couldn't go to the regular white hospitals. You go in Washington, D.C., in the Museum of African American History and Culture, you have like a massive statue of Toussaint Louverture. We went to Mystic in Connecticut, learned about the connection because the USS Constitution used to be in Mystic, Connecticut, and was sent in 1801 in Haiti in support of the Toussaint Louverture fight against mulattoes. And then you go here in Boston, the connection would be with Frederick Douglass and Senator Charles Sumner, who was beaten on the floor advocating for abolition and for the recognition of Haiti. So you go to
Wendell Phillips.
Yeah, you go to Chicago, you have this monument for the Baptiste Pont du Sable, and you go to Louisiana, the Creole cuisine, the Vodou collection. So Haiti is all over the map here. And that's a topic for a full other.
Got it.
Please feel free to browse a few of those things. You can tell take them for you. Others you can just.
Merci.
Oh,
Oh no, I'm finished. That was fantastic. Thank you, everyone.
my pleasure.
Thank you.